The New York Rangers are definitely going to be, of course, a very busy team this offseason as they have lots of moves to make. They're obviously as they look to make some upgrades, but they've also got 7 different restricted free agents on this team currently, 4 on the forward side of things and 3 on the defenseman side of things. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the first of those 7 to either be traded away or sign a new deal with this team, and that is, of course, Matt Rempe, who ended up signing a new contract with the Rangers on Wednesday, which I think, honestly, is a pretty good and fair deal for both sides. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at not only this Matt Rempe contract and kind of what this means going forward for the team, but also we're going to kind of dive into some of the kind of cap space situation there with this team and kind of see where they're at cap-wise and kind of some of the RFAs that are left, of course, because there's still 6 more, what we could do with them, as some of them may get re-signed, some of them will probably end up getting traded or leave this team and go somewhere else. So we're going to kind of dive into that side of things as well. But of course, we'll start off here with that Matt Rempe contract, which, like I said, I think is pretty good for both sides there, especially the team, as Rempe came back on a 2-year deal worth $975K per season. And I don't think, obviously, this is an absolute steal necessarily, because this is about the value that I kind of thought he would get. But to me, I mean, there was obviously the chance there where maybe he goes up to, 1.1 or 1.2 mil there. I thought that was, somewhat possible, although I kind of thought this was pretty much exactly kind of the fair value for him. But to me, the Rangers end up, doing a good job there, bringing him back on a 2-year deal. Less than $1 million is not bad at all for a, solid fourth liner. I mean, he brings a unique skill set. Obviously, he's not just your average fourth liner there who, brings maybe a decent two-way game there, is a bit of a physical guy out there. We know what Rempe brings, right? He is an absolute animal out there. He is massive, standing at about, 6'8" there. He's got some great toughness, great physicality. He's always playing with some energy as well. He's always flying around out there, and he may not be the overall best skater, but for his size there, I think he is a pretty decent skater, and obviously he has, like I said, a pretty unique skill set there. He brings something that this team definitely needs more of, and although, yes, he may never become a great kind of even top 9 forward, being a great kind of guy offensively and defensively, but to me, he can still be a more than quality fourth liner, and having guys like this, especially if Matt Rempe can continue to develop his all-around game. And I think we did see him take, some steps in his development from, last season there in 23-24 up until, actually this past season there in 24-25. I think we saw him take some actual decent steps. There wasn't anything massive, but I think he just kind of clearly worked on his all-around game there, must have in the offseason, and definitely looked like a bit of an improved player. And like I said, he's not going to turn into some great kind of offensive threat there or some great defensive forward, but what he can be is maybe a decent enough offensive guy, a decent enough defensive guy, but also brings that amazing physicality and energy that having that on your fourth line can definitely be pretty beneficial. So I think although he's not going to become a star, he doesn't really have that potential to be that, he can definitely still be a guy who Mike Sullivan tries to mold into a, great and well above average, amazing fourth liner, which, if you can have that at your a 6'8" kind of forward there with Matt Rempe, who can, be that kind of tough guy there, be that enforced type guy, but also be a non kind of liability out there, then that can definitely be a great player to have and a very valuable one to have on your team as well. And with him being only 22 years old now, he's definitely got some room to grow, I think, and get better. Like I said, I don't think his ceiling is ever going to be like some, even like 30-plus point guy, but can he be a 20-something point guy there possibly and, end up becoming a, all right defensive forward? I definitely see that being a possibility. We'll have to wait and see, but I really do think Rempe can become a, at least really solid kind of fourth liner for years to come. And like I said, with that physicality, which we know this team needs, it definitely can be a pretty valuable thing to have on your fourth line, or at least in kind of a depth role as kind of an extra forward. Worst case, is definitely not the worst thing to have. And now let's take a look at the cap space situation here with this Rangers team, and it's not too bad there, especially after making that Kreider trade that obviously helped things out quite a bit. And right now, after this Matt Rempe signing is on the books, the Rangers have a total of $13.947 million in cap space available. So just under $14 million to spend. And like I said, they do have some RFAs, some key ones as well, to re-sign a guy like, of course, Will Coley. He's going to cost a decent amount there. He's going to eat up a decent chunk of that. You've got Edstrom there, who I think will get a similar contract to what Rempe got there, something around more than likely I would guess 2-year deal. Maybe like it's like 1 mil, 1.1 at most there, but something around the exact deal that Rempe got is kind of my guess for Edstrom. Then you've also got guys on the back end there, some question marks as well, with a guy like, of course, Keandre Miller. What happens with him? Does he stay with his team? Does he get traded away? Does he sign a long-term deal, a short-term deal, which it kind of seems more likely if he does come back with his team that it will be a shorter-term contract. So there's some question marks there. Even with a guy like, Zach Jones, does he end up coming back? My guess has been he won't, because I think he probably wants out of this organization there to try and go somewhere else to get more of an opportunity. And for a guy like Matthew Robertson, I definitely think he is someone who will come back with this team. I mean, he's 24 years old. He can be a decent kind of call-up potential kind of guy there, I think, to have in the AHL. Not really a prospect, but is still kind of a prospect. I mean, he's only 24, so maybe there's still something left there for him to kind of develop into. Had a bit of a sample size there with the Rangers. Looked okay, I guess, but didn't do anything too insane. So we'll see what happens there with him. But like I said, I'm more than likely I'm kind of guessing there he will be in the AHL to begin next season. And then we've also got Arthur Kaliev, who is an RFA as well, as a forward there, but I just don't know if he's the exact guy who's going to come back with this team. To me, he's not really a guy that needs to be brought back. So in my opinion, if he just kind of walks away and goes somewhere else, I have no problem with that at all. He was picked up off waivers. But other than that there, there are some other kind of UFAs, but like Calvin DeHaan, he definitely doesn't seem like he'll want to re-sign with this team, even if they want him to. Then you've got guys like, Nicholas Obey-Kubel, who maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't, but at best there he is a depth forward or more like the AHLer at this point, honestly. So to me, there's really no other kind of guys that have to be brought back. The main key guys who need to be re-signed, though, are, of course, like I mentioned, Will Cooley, Adam Edstrom, and then after that, I mean, like I said, guys like Keandre Miller, he's a big question mark right now. Will he come back? Will he not? We'll have to wait and see. Robertson, depth role at best. Same thing with Zach Jones there, and also with a guy like Arthur Kaliev. If he comes back as well, it would definitely be in a very minor role. So overall, I think this team is in an all right spot cap-wise right now. It's definitely not a great one to be in, but after trading away Kreider, they've set themselves up in a much better position to be able to, bring back all the necessary guys that have to be re-signed and also possibly be able to go out there and make the necessary additions. Now, I still think they're going to look to trade away maybe guys like a Carson Soucy and as a Zibanejad and, of course, a Keandre Miller to open up even more money. And in the case of trading away a guy like Keandre, you'd be able to get back some pretty good assets. So to me, it makes a lot of sense there. This team is going to be active. They have lots of moves to make there, but they're not in a terrible spot, but they're definitely also not in a great spot right now cap-wise. They've got lots of moves to make. The money's going to come away pretty quick there, like that 14 or a little bit less than 14 million cap space right now. After you re-sign a guy like, Will Cooley there, you're going to have about less than maybe, 10 mil there, right? So that's going to be gone pretty quickly after signing some guys back there. So they're going to have to definitely look to make some more moves, I think. And if this team truly wants to become a Stanley Cup contender, they're going to have to make some real big upgrades this offseason. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content, as I do post every single day. And also, definitely don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on today's video. What are your thoughts on Matt Rempe getting re-signed? Do you like that contract? Do you hate it? And also, let me know your thoughts on the Rangers kind of cap space situation here, and also on those RFAs. Which ones do you want to see brought back, and also which ones do you want to see traded away or just let go? Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one, and let's go Rangers.